Welcome to another session of Tech Talk with me. I am Tripti Sinha from Tech Jobs Fair, and today I am here with our very special guest, Miss Julia Schlader. Julia is the founder and CEO of Circular Growth and has been working in marketing, sales, recruiting, leadership, and coaching in places like Vienna, Berlin, London, New York City, and South America for over 13 years. So let's welcome her. Hi, Julia. How are you? And welcome to the session.
Welcome and thank you very much. I'm really looking forward to the session.
All right, so thank you everyone for joining us today. She will be sharing her insights on personal and professional growth along a job and career change today. So, Julia, before we talk about the topic in today's session, please take us through your, journey in this industry and your, journey so far.
Mhm. Thanks again for the introduction. As mentioned before, I've been working in business for 13 years now and in coaching for 7 years. And what made me start the coaching journey myself is probably just being interested in and curious about these topics myself. And so far, I've coached many, many clients internationally as part of my business Circular Growth, but also as part of my coaching business, Julia Schlader Coaching, which is more B2C focused. I guess that's the focus today. And I'm very excited to be here.
Thank you so much. Thank you. So, like you said, you do this, give these coaches to people. How can individuals, overcome the challenges that come along with a job change? Because that's really, really difficult for people.
I think very often people they need to learn how to be very honest with themselves, what they actually want. And very often they need to overcome their fears, because whenever we change something as important as our job, where we spend at least like 40 hours a week, some would say the majority of our lives, it's something that really defines us, especially nowadays. So as a first step, I always work on establishing a positive mindset with my clients to actually understand what exactly is the goal they're working towards.
Do you think job change is necessary for growth and development, or is it good to be in like one position and not look for other opportunities? What do you say in that?
Mhm. Some people do manage to actually grow personally and even professionally outside of their jobs. They have their passions, they have their areas of interest, and they just have a normal 9 to 5 job they don't really care about, and that's totally fine. I think it's all about what you have, what ambitions you have in life. So if you have bigger ambitions or you're really unhappy, I think that's when you need to get active and get started on seeing what you can change in your life.
Yeah. So how does it look very different in the, career being concerned if they want to do something very, very different? Because I have seen people who have, been in probably in science field, and they just go and get into, maybe art industry. So there is some people doing like a whole lot of career change. So how can we do that, and how does that look like?
Mhm. I think very often we have the obstacle in mind that it's not possible. And that's a limiting belief we can get rid of. I can also talk about this from a personal viewpoint. I personally studied controlling and accounting in my bachelor's degree, and I finished realizing that's not the field I want to pursue myself. I really wanted to do something that had more to do with people and with creative stuff. So after my bachelor's, I realized marketing would probably be the better option than sales. And however, at the beginning, I thought it's not possible because I specialized already, and my whole life was kind of focused on that specialization. And that's actually not true, because today we're in a world where there's more jobs being offered in contrast to the demand on the market. So people can actually choose what they want to do. And in order to just change their career and start something completely new, or let's say all over again, it's just important to understand what exactly do I want to do. That's the most important thing. And then it's about figuring out what skills do I need, and how can I specify them, and what skills do I have already, and which exact ones do I still need.
Yeah. So now imagine like, someone's in like full doing their normal working hours and everything, but then they wish to switch their jobs and maybe become speaker, maybe, full-time speaker. So do you recommend them to completely leave their job and directly hop into their new career, or would they should do some kind of searching and planning, and then maybe, leave their job place and then switch their career? What's the idea, like what should be the ideal, decision on that?
I think it really depends on the personality. If you have the personality of being a risk taker and you know that about yourself, and that's also the path I pursued. I quit my job and I completely started over, like running my own business, and that for the second time because I already had a business in the UK, and now I just
Mhm.
set up a business in Austria. But I think that's only for risk takers, because if you know that you can handle like the stretch zone / panic zone mode, that's fine. I would say the average person I coach prefers to have a more secure path. An option of changing jobs is to reduce what you currently have without getting rid of it completely, so you can cover your fixed costs and just really focus on making your dreams kind of come true step by step. And I think you
Mhm.
just really need a good plan. And I think the problem most people face is they search for jobs on the market, and being a speaker is not available because who advertises that? So in order to become a speaker, for example, you just specifically need to understand where and to what extent, and do you want to earn money with it, or is it something on top of what you currently do? And how can you contact the people that actually choose you as a speaker, or how could you choose other people to be speakers to get also in that position later on in life? So I think it's all about a good plan, and it's about proactiveness.
Thank you so much. That's really really helpful. Now, if they wanna they are in such situations, what would be your advice in terms of how can applicants, best prepare themselves if they are in such situations in future?
Mhm. I think we live in a world where we often want to have things immediately. So very often we think, oh, I have this idea, I want to follow my dreams, and it needs to happen tomorrow. And that's not the case. So usually it's a process of several months. And I think what's really necessary is patience and resilience. So there's many books about resilience, but you can also do the research online. And it's really about understanding that you can reach anything you want, if it's realistic, of course, even if it's from your viewpoint unrealistic, because a coach can help you to actually get a little bit out of your comfort zone and aim for even higher targets than what you think is possible. And then it's about visualizing that goal. So there's various different techniques in place how you can do this. But the best thing is to also believe in self-fulfilling prophecies. So if you start talking about it, if you go on networking events, if you try to meet the right people, make the right connections, if you actually learn more about the knowledge and the area you want to become an expert in, you all of a sudden meet the right people and come into the right situations where you can actually get ready for whatever you have in mind.
Yeah. So now that we are talking about job change or career change, I know there there might be, viewers here who might be a little confused on what's the actual difference between the job change and a career change. If you could just enlighten a little, on the difference between the two, I think that'll be really really helpful for them.
Mhm. I think most people nowadays they look for job changes because they're comfortable in the area they're in, whether they're happy or unhappy. They're just not happy, let's say, with their employer. Like, let's say their boss, they don't like them, or they don't get on with their coworkers, or they're
Mm.
suddenly since COVID forced into a situation where they need to do constant home office and they really need people around them, or they would prefer a position, and that's actually what young people like. They often don't even want to go to job interviews anymore. More, they prefer to be at home and to actually just also work from home, never leave their homes pretty much for work.
Yeah.
So if your current employer doesn't allow for things like that, or even let's say they don't invest in your personal and professional development, but that's what you're looking for, then it's best to actually look for a new job. However, if you've tried 5 different jobs in your field, and let's say you work for a marketing agency and it's really not your field, and you're really unhappy about it because you would much rather work more with people and you don't know how to transition to a sales role, let's say, then that's a career change in a way. It's related, of course. It would be totally different, let's say, if you're looking to work in an animal shelter, that needs a lot of privacy, but everything is possible. And I think it's all about understanding what are my needs, what are my ambitions, where do I want to be in the next year, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years. If I'm in pension and I look back on my career, how shall it have looked like, you know?
So, is there a point where someone can reach and then they can think like, yeah, this is the time for me to have a job change or a career change? Is there a point that, like we say, like a boiling point, a melting point? So, do we have a point in general where we know it's time to change our job or our career?
Mhm. So it really depends on the personality again. So some people are very reflected and they really notice, and let's say even emotional, and they notice quickly if their mood is going down or they're not as happy or motivated, or they notice that during the day they do 1,000 things or like are constantly on Instagram and social media instead of to work, you know. I think there's some people who are less reflected who just prefer to have their routines and they think it's normal because everyone else is the same, you know. And I think as long as you are not personally affected by it, it's whatever you choose is fine. But I would say it's hard to give a general recommendation. Some people would say in Europe, for example, we change jobs every 2 years just to stay on top of things. However, if you get promotions within a job, of course, this changes, and you can even stay with the company for, let's say, 8 to 10 years if you get a new job or promotion within the company every couple of years, let's say, you know. But I think if people are unhappy in life and they want to change something, very often it also has to do with the job. Sometimes it also purely has to do with the personal life, but I think a holistic coaching approach always considers the whole situation, the whole person involved.
So in this setting, like, the job career changing kind of a situation, how can a personal growth or a professional growth can happen? Like, what's the, positivity or the negativity of the personal and professional growth in the situation like this?
Mhm. I think once you start being interested or opening up for the topic of growth overall, I think a door opens that cannot be closed. You know, some people prefer to leave it closed because it's easier in life, or it may seem easier if whenever some annoying thoughts come to your mind, you push them away and you just distract yourself with something. However, if you really want to develop yourself, you know, I think the positive thing is if you're open for personal development, let's say for improving your social skills, how you get on with others, how you can do better as a person overall in life, how you manage to have a happy life where you are as resilient so that you can handle any challenge, you know, this also impacts your professional career. So people will, handle you better overall. They will react better to you. You will be able to collaborate better. Teamworks will be like more successful, and it's a process that enhances one another. So I can highly recommend it to anyone who's listening today.
So it is true that personal and professional growth are, related to each other, because that could, like, either of the one could impact the other, right?
So it really again depends on the person, on their viewpoints, because I've spoken to people in sales who say, well, we work with elbow techniques. So we just really don't care about the people behind. We just want to hit our KPIs, and we don't look on the left and on the right. And when you go into the business world, how it looks like today, you often meet people who would say it's not interconnected. However, we also live in a world where sustainability in many different ways becomes more and more important. And people who actually do see an interrelationship, they just simply succeed more in the long run. And it's a more sustainable approach. So if you ask me, I would say 100% it's an interrelationship.
So I've seen people, they take decisions like on spot, like if something is not working out in their personal life, or there's no growth in personal situations, they tend to change their job. Although like everything is going good professionally, but some things are not just working personally, they change to, change the job or the city or the career. So, do you have anything to say on that? Is it like a good decision to make or not?
You're talking to someone who switched cities quite a lot. So I moved when I was 26 years old. I moved to London, and a couple of years later, I moved to New York, and then I traveled 30 countries as a digital nomad. And this allowed me to meet a lot of people internationally who are also either expats or nomads or just actually left their country behind. I'm back
Mm-hmm.
in Vienna now, and it's for me personally, it's always a bigger challenge to stay in one place. I think you need a lot of resilience and you need a lot of creativity to understand what really drives you and what makes you happy if you don't change your surroundings, you know. But also, I think it's the easier way to leave things behind and start over if you have the opportunity, of course, because the first time is always the hardest. But if you've already succeeded once in moving to another city, you know the process involved, you know how to find new friends, how to establish a new environment. But it only lasts for so long. I think after a year or two, you always start getting back your old routine, no matter in which city you are. You know, you may be able to leave certain people behind, but very often the people we meet depend on our personal and professional patterns. So it's very likely that wherever you go, you will find yourself in a similar situation as you were. So that's why it's really important to look at the core of the problem and to understand, is it now even if it's like personal reasons why you change jobs. Let's say your coworkers find out about it and you're uncomfortable with that, you just change your surrounding and you can start over again. That's possible. But yeah, one always needs to keep in mind this is not a very sustainable strategy.
So, I just have one final thing to ask. What would be your advice on people who start seeing this situation as something positive and would ideally, want to look forward to?
Mhm. I think what's really important is the process of applying for a new job or starting over a new career. It will be exactly as you imagine it to be. So if you're very anxious, if you're very scared, if you don't know where to go, this will be reflected in the whole journey. However, if you manage to start into this new venture with a positive mindset and with the right support, and you can always ask for support, it's going to be a completely different journey. So first of all, first advice is seek support and figure out who can help you best. Is it your friends, your family, a coach, someone completely different, your current employer? Could be so many different people who can support you. Then don't give up, because very often the fears come up and we cannot stop or prevent them. So just keep in mind that's normal. Most people have it and it's part of the process. But again, whenever these fears come up, reframe them into something positive, you know, and start with a proper plan. But most importantly, make milestones and celebrate each single one of them. So whenever you've gotten one step closer to your goal and to your career change, you should just think of a routine or habit how you can also treat yourself to something nice, so you really manage the whole journey and are patient enough to get where you want to get.
Yeah. Sorry to add on just a one more question. So, like, when we're doing this, let's talk about the career change. We are starting all over again, right? So, does the experience really matter there?
So it depends, of course, because it's hard to generalize. If there's so many different careers out there, and it really depends. If you want to become an astronaut, it's kind of hard, you know.
Okay.
However, if you have a job that's even available in your own city, you know, and let's say it's just a bit harder to get there, or it might even take a few years because you need all the qualification, the education, you need to prepare, you need to meet the right people, and so on. I think it's best to make some plans in multiple steps. So to understand what would make you happy in the short term, in the medium term, and in the long term.
Is it good to have like different plans before switching jobs or career, like plan A, plan B? If plan doesn't work, then plan B. Is it good to have that, or should we stick to like plan A and this is how I'm going to achieve, my goal? So, what should be the ideal idea of changing
Mhm.
careers or jobs?
I think everyone who actually has one career goal in mind is very fortunate, because nowadays we live in times where people have many ideas, and some people even wake up every other day with a different idea what they want to do. And I think we just need to understand that we cannot get anywhere if we follow too many plans at the same time. So one is fortunate and lucky enough to have one clear idea where they want to get. I think it's best to pursue that plan and to visualize it and to understand what's the best case scenario, what's the worst case scenario, and what's in the middle, and how can one handle each of these possible scenarios without losing track of the end goal. However, if there's, let's say, someone wants to have 5 jobs within their whole career or life, then it's important to prioritize, because we cannot achieve all 5 at the same time. And then it's important to really understand what's the next step, and kind of losing the track of the others, because we are so dynamic as humans. So our desires can change, and we really want to be open to whatever. Like as we go through personal and professional development, we really want to be open to what is out there and what is happening, and if maybe our passions change over time, and that's really crucial to consider.
All right. Thanks so much for your beautiful insights, Julia. It has been a wonderful session, and thank you for actively participating in the session as well. But we do have few time constraints, because of which we have to bring the session to an end today. But of course, we will look forward to multiple sessions in the future. Before we end, do you have any advice or any recommendations to our viewers?
Mhm. I'm always a big fan of making things happen. So, as you listen now to this session, I think it would be nice to really take a pen and a piece of paper and to write down what you want to achieve as a next step career wise. And to understand, is it just a job change you're looking at, or is it a whole career change? And really don't be scared of what comes out. Just write all your thoughts down. I would recommend to also sleep a night over it, to reconsider what you wrote the day before, and then to see what your next steps are.
All right, guys. So before you take any decision, think twice and know whether you want to do a job change or a career change. And if you are looking to do any one of these, we do have our events coming up, which is, of course, both physical and virtual. So you can just go to our website, techjobsfair.com, and check out all the locations where our events are upcoming. And you can register yourself if you are a job seeker for free. So don't miss the chance. And yes, I look forward to meeting you all in the next session. Have a lovely day. Bye bye. Thank you so much, Julia, for joining us today.